have been with my girlfriend for 4 years. We built a life and a home together. However, she just ended it after realizing she needed to find herself. This is all very fresh, probably too fresh to post anything, but I do not really have any family or people to talk to, so here it goes. My girlfriend just ended our 4-year relationship after some probing on my part. We have a house and a life together, and I just finished saving for a ring last week. Tomorrow we have reservations for our 4-year anniversary, and I am hyperventilating a bit. The story is a little complicated. She has had a hereditary disease her whole life. We started dating when she was in remission, and she got sick again about a year into our relationship. It has been a mess of new drugs, sickness, and health for her. We have made it through together, and it made our bond very strong. I own my own business, so I was able to work and support us both when she could not work her full-time job. However, this business found me pretty successful at a young age, and I fell into a deep, deep depression. She helped me through that just by being there, but it has been rough. I gained back 90 of the 100 pounds I lost in high school, drank heavily, became much more withdrawn, and lost my lust for life, all for a business. She has always been the type to never speak up. She never wants to upset anyone to a fault. She was walked all over in past relationships, jobs, etc. I pushed as hard as I could to figure out simple things, like what she wanted to eat for dinner. Her doctors had a note not to trust what she says because she is often more sick than she says she feels. About 18 months ago, we decided to move, after living together for a year, out of the city. The city was killing us, and we picked out a house in our dream location. I purchased it knowing full well it is not smart to own a house with a significant other you are not married to. We made the decision she would finally quit her job and go back to school for a career she loves. It took her our whole relationship to do so. I have been supporting us 100% the whole time, without her asking. She has always felt terrible about it. This change kicked me out of my depression. We were in a place where I could thrive, she could go to school and work, and we could have a family. I hired people, started working a normal schedule, stopped drinking heavily, and most importantly, my focus was life again, not business. I was living for experiences. She loved the change in me. We were more active, she dove into school, and all was good. We talked heavily about marriage, had a rough time frame, and everything was going great. Then she got sick in October. Like, really sick. 6 weeks in the hospital. I hired extra people and commuted 5 hours a day to see her, only missing 3 days. She ultimately had surgery and has been recovering at home for the past month, able to get out and about a bit. I noticed a change as she was in the hospital. She was not excited to see me. I started having panic attacks when I got home due to the hours and schedule. I had thoughts of overwhelming dread that she was actually falling out of our relationship. We talked about it, and she assured me that was not the case. Through some reading, I found that these thoughts were part of the depression I thought was gone. As she has been home recovering, I have done everything I can. I noticed our sporadic conversations about the future stopped. She turned away or changed the subject when I mentioned kids. She never kissed me. I had to kiss her. No hugs, no nothing. So finally tonight, I just pushed her. I could only ask, "Are you okay?" So much, as I had the past 4 months. She broke. She said she had a lot of time to think in the hospital. She said she was not living for herself and needed to find herself. She feels horrible because, for 4 years, I have pushed her daily to find her passions and follow them, not to think of others first in such an extreme. I did this because that is what I do. I work my dream job and I want that for her. She says she feels like she is holding me back. She loves me, and I think I believe that because she is refusing to let me settle. But damn, do I still love her? Most upsetting, she said that she has never felt at home in our house. She has felt like it was always mine, and she was a girlfriend staying over. I pressed this issue before we moved, asking her where she would like to live. Anywhere in the world. I can work from anywhere. She said this was a great idea. Please know that I have also got no design sense, I am just the muscle. So it is not a matter of my stuff being all over the place. She has decorated very nicely. So here I sit, sober, crying, and feeling alone, with no one to call. No close family or friends within 120 miles. I cannot bring myself to open the door to the office I just built out for her new career, and the paint is literally drying from earlier tonight. We moved to a family area, no more college scene. I have read advice to throw yourself into work, and I have a job that almost killed me once. I will be alone in this house that was, in 2 to 3 years, meant for our family. Money is not an issue. I love the area, I love our home, and I do not wish to leave. Truly is my dream to live here, but it was my dream to live here with the family we had planned. Life lesson. Nothing is set in stone. So how do I even start to cope? We still love each other, we are best friends. I am going up to sleep in our bed because I cannot bring myself to sleep in the guest room, and she does not want me to. She is going to stay while we untangle our life, and she, along with my family and hers, is afraid of what I will do to myself. I am not going anywhere. I have never been suicidal. But I sure as hell cannot drink this one away because the drinking will not stop. But she is going to leave, like, soon. I know it is not fair to hold on to the idea that she might just need to do some soul searching and come back. And I know that, being so sick for so long, She really did not have a chance to figure out what she wanted. But I just cannot help but feel absolutely gutted that it took this long for it to come out because I cannot see my life without us. It is the most life-shattering thing I have ever felt. Update 1. The past 24 hours have been a beautiful and sad journey. After the initial shock wore off, we have done a lot of talking, and for the first time, we have been completely honest with each other at the same time. We have been waiting and waiting for our relationship to fit into the life we have built around it. We have had a hard go at it with the sicknesses, depression, and ultimately the transitional time in our lives. It was a hard time for everyone around us, getting out of college and finding ourselves. We both care so much for each other that we tried to force it to work, ultimately denying our own desires in the process. Personally, I admitted to myself that I am more afraid to be alone in this house and area than I am upset that our time living together is ending. I have struggled with this since we moved here 18 months ago because this is my dream. However, I have had serious doubts about our relationship, and the thing that kept me from saying anything was a fear of the unknown, a fear of living alone as an adult for the first time in my life. My ex-girlfriend was very clear that it is not fair for me to feel guilty about the life I have built, and this is very true. Likewise, it is not fair to blame her for not wanting the same life. I do wish she had spoken up sooner, but ultimately, I love her for trying to make it work because she wanted me to be happy. My ex-girlfriend simply does not know what she wants. She thought she wanted a house, kids, and a family, and when they started coming, she realized that she did not know what she wanted. She only knows that she does not know what she wants. We are both adamant that life is too short to settle. This is important. We have been living as best friends for a long time now, years maybe. Saying this out loud was a relief because it does not mean either of us wants our relationship to end. It just needs to evolve into its proper state. We decided to take the week to pack her stuff up. And while it is sad, it is amazing to be with each other now that this is in the open. Sure, there is the initial feeling of hatred at everything that reminds us of the relationship because it is hard to close an overall happy time in your life when you know it is for the best. But this is not an angry breakup, and it is important to realize that the memories of these objects are all good memories. When the sweeping feelings of fear and sadness go away, happiness will remain. I have come to realize that it is not healthy to fill a void in oneself with a relationship. My biggest fear is being alone because I do not yet know how to do that. This relationship became a way for me to fill that void and avoid the fear. Update 2. I went into this experience with a great deal of apprehension. For over a year, the anxiety, worry, and pain associated with this moment have dominated my life. I was filled with dread about what was to come, and it had a significant impact on my day-to-day existence. It wasn't until we actually separated that I began to fully understand the extent of this anxiety. Today, as I sit with the familiar sense of dread that has been a constant companion since we bought the house, I realize that there is nothing left to worry about. The transition is complete, and I genuinely feel a sense of relief and clarity. I am facing a lot of uncertainty about the future. I have to come to terms with the fact that I had been preparing for a serious commitment, including marriage and starting a family, and now those plans are on hold. Since we made the decision to part ways a few days ago, my ex-girlfriend and I have continued to live together. We were unsure about the best course of action and felt that abruptly ending our cohabitation after such an amicable decision seemed both wrong and inappropriate. However, there was a mutual skepticism about whether this arrangement was a good idea. It turns out that staying together for a little while longer was the best decision we could have made. It provided us with the time needed to openly communicate and ultimately resolve our situation. Last night, after spending most of the day away from home to allow her to pack, I returned to find that not much progress had been made. She had started a few tasks but was visibly shaken. When she saw me, she began to cry. Later, I learned that she had been struggling with the belief that I was merely pretending that we had been living as best friends to help her through the move. She was upset because she thought she was causing me heartbreak. This reaction highlighted an important issue she faces. While putting others before oneself is generally a positive trait, when it comes at the cost of one's long-term emotional well-being, it becomes unhealthy. I recognized this and was determined to ensure that she wasn't staying simply to appease me. This moment was a catalyst for what turned out to be one of the most honest and healing conversations we have ever had. We spent hours on the couch, discussing our relationship and what led us to this point. It became clear that I had been completely honest with her, which shifted everything. We had both been feeling the same way for a long time, and once we removed the pretense of a romantic relationship and let go of the expectations, we were able to connect on a deeper level. It was strange and unexpected, but it was a welcome change for both of us. We have a special bond, but it is not romantic. The complexity of our situation lies in its simplicity. We fell in love, and over time, that love evolved into a deep friendship. We tried to navigate this transformation and reached a point where a rejected proposal highlighted the fact that our romantic relationship had run its course. Despite our efforts, it just didn't work out in that way. She revealed that she had been waiting for months to address her feelings because she was unsure if they were mutual. Years of experience in business had taught me not to wear my heart on my sleeve, and while I harbored these thoughts, I was careful not to reveal them. The reasons behind this are complex. Our relationship has been characterized by emotional highs and lows. She has experienced periods of extreme illness, and I have struggled with depression. I have always been her primary caregiver during these times, and this dynamic made it difficult to discern whether our issues were genuine or circumstantial. At times, our relationship resembled that of a parent and child. It became a waiting game. It is challenging to maintain a clear perspective when you spend extensive hours in the car for weeks on end or work a job you dislike to avoid upsetting colleagues. We always experienced periods of improvement after times of illness, which gave us hope. Our deep care for each other and understanding of our struggles led us to believe that these challenges should not dictate our future. So we both waited. During times of good health, we continued to build the life we envisioned, without stopping to assess the one critical factor, our relationship. We thought we needed to focus on the bigger picture, and in a way, we did. Now that our life is set up, there are no lingering doubts. We discussed the timing of our decision extensively. She felt remorseful that it came up while she was in the hospital and during the holiday season. She had believed the issue was one-sided and didn't want to bring it up at such a sensitive time. This was the first time she truly believed I was being honest when I said I felt the same way. There was never a good time for this conversation. She expressed guilt about not having one last opportunity to see each other's families. This realization confirmed for me that our relationship had naturally evolved into a strong friendship. I asked her to consider how our holiday would have been different if we were just old friends from college. We both spend time with each other's families during the season, and aside from possibly sharing a bed instead of taking the floor, there was no real difference. Our close relationships with each other's families will continue unaffected. In the end, I believe we will remain good friends with minimal break because that is what we have been for the past 2 years. We both anticipate that our friendship will grow now that the romantic expectations are no longer present, and we are both happy about this outcome. I am apprehensive about being alone, and that is my next major challenge. It will be a process of taking it one day at a time, and I am not seeking any significant changes until I start exploring the possibility of starting a family from scratch. I understand that I need to be okay on my own to have any chance at a healthy future relationship, so that will be my primary focus. Update 3. Today marked a significant and emotional milestone. My ex-girlfriend moved out of our home. We've always referred to it as our home, but in retrospect, it never truly felt like that for either of us. I think it remained just a house, a physical space that we occupied but never fully embraced as a shared sanctuary. Her entire family came to assist with the move. We have always been very close, and in many ways I feel a stronger bond with them than with my own extended family. Their presence today was deeply comforting. Much of my pain did not stem from the end of our romantic relationship, as there has been no heartbreak in that sense. Our love for each other is profound but has been more of a familial nature for quite some time now. The real source of my anguish was the thought of losing a part of my chosen family. Their friendship, intelligence, and love have become integral to my life. They came not only to help her with the move but also to support me. They embraced me, shared in my tears, and reassured both of us that this decision, while difficult, was ultimately the most mature and appropriate course of action. They came to remind me that despite the sadness, there will be brighter days ahead, filled with laughter and joy around the dinner table once again. Primarily, their role today was to assist with the physical aspects of the move, transporting her belongings into the truck and shifting my extra items from the basement into the now empty spaces. Their acts of love and support were palpable throughout the day, and I felt profoundly grateful for their presence. This experience may sound like a script from a melodramatic story to many. If I were reading this as an outsider, I might also question its authenticity. The uncertainty of what happens next, especially if either of us starts seeing someone new, looms large. However, we both genuinely wish for each other's happiness and have endured a great deal of guilt trying to make our relationship work despite its inherent challenges. In the days following our decision to separate, we have navigated through a myriad of emotions, meticulously sorting through years of repressed thoughts and feelings. This process, which involved lifting the weight of romance and embracing the warmth of deep friendship, has made me realize that our relationship reached its peak in those final days. I am thankful for the week we spent together because it allowed us to see our relationship in its most genuine and fulfilling light. Ultimately, we are making this change for the right reasons, and we share similar motivations for doing so. I have long struggled with unresolved issues, including alcohol dependency and depression, stemming from a lack of coping skills. My fear of being alone has hindered my ability to build a healthy relationship with myself. For years, I wrestled with the decision of whether to stay in the relationship or face the fear of solitude. Although staying together was not the right choice, it was always the easier one. I devoted years to taking care of her, driven by love, but also because caring for myself felt insurmountable. This dynamic was unfair to both of us. My ex-girlfriend, on the other hand, has never experienced true solitude and has sought happiness and validation through others. She has remained in situations not because they served her well, but because she was concerned about the impact on others. She pursued a college path her parents wanted, stayed in positions due to her roommates' preferences, and endured unfulfilling jobs to avoid inconveniencing her superiors. She moved to this area for me, despite not being sure of her own desires. She will only find success in relationships when she learns to prioritize herself without compromising her own needs for others. She has come to recognize this through our relationship. It is undeniable that our time together has been the most significant of our lives, and there is a profound sadness in acknowledging its end. This is not a mere platitude to avoid the reality of our separation. As we worked through the process of untangling our lives and possessions, we were rediscovering our individuality and independence. The past week was filled with tears, but they were tears of both sadness and joy. We relived our shared experiences, finding beauty and healing in reflecting on the past 4 years. This period brought us closer as friends, and we celebrated the fact that our journey together had been transformative. Looking ahead, we face a long road of adjustment. Our first lesson is accepting that we are no longer a unified we. I am now an individual, and so is she. We have spent a significant part of our lives intertwined, and while it may not align with what might be expected from two emotionally perfect individuals, it has been an extraordinary experience that we wouldn't change. We have both grown and evolved because of each other, and in my view, that constitutes a successful relationship. However, the house is no longer ours. It is mine now. I must adapt to this new reality, and it is important that I avoid dwelling on the past and referring to it as we. I do not yet have any memories as an individual in this space, but that will come in time. Though it is daunting, I am eager to embark on this new chapter. I will transform this house into a home for myself, resist the temptation to drown my fears in alcohol, and begin therapy to confront and overcome my inner struggles. I am looking forward to the journey of self-discovery and growth that lies ahead. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone on Reddit who has supported me throughout this week. Your kindness has been invaluable, and as I move on to this next chapter of my already incredible life, I believe this will be my final update for now. Am I the asshole for not breaking up with my girlfriend when I found out she cheated on me? I have been in a relationship with my girlfriend for approximately 6 years. 5 years ago, I discovered that she had cheated on me. At that time, I chose not to confront her about it, primarily because I was struggling with very low self-esteem and believed that she was the best I could do. During the years that followed, I dedicated myself to my career and made significant strides in my professional life. Now, I have been offered an opportunity to relocate for a job promotion, and I am considering this move as a chance for a fresh start. I informed my girlfriend, who is now my ex, about the job offer and my intention to move. She responded by stating that she would not be willing to leave her friends and family behind unless we had a clearer vision for our future together. I acknowledged her position and accepted that she would not be joining me in this move. When she asked about the duration of the job, I explained that it was a permanent position. Her reaction was one of outrage. She accused me of having wasted 6 years of her life planning a future with her. I reminded her that our relationship had not been the same since she had cheated on me at her sister's bachelorette party. When she inquired about how I had found out about her infidelity, I told her that I learned about it from 2 of her friends, who showed me pictures. I believe they thought that we had discussed it and that I had forgiven her. Despite knowing about her infidelity, I never brought it up again. In response to discovering her betrayal, I took precautions by getting tested and being more diligent about using condoms. However, after initially being shocked, I started to view her more as a roommate with whom I occasionally had sex. It felt easier to maintain the relationship than to break up and search for a new partner. Currently, she is expressing a range of negative emotions toward me and attempting to rally support from others. I am largely indifferent to her reactions as I prepare to move across the country. I am seeking an objective opinion on whether I was in the wrong for not ending the relationship after learning about her cheating. I should note that I covered 75% of our household expenses over the past 5 years, including paying for vacations and gifts. Despite my knowledge of her infidelity, I continue to treat her as my girlfriend. Update: the situation has escalated significantly. I am relieved to be moving to a different state and distancing myself from the drama. My ex has exhibited erratic behavior over the past month, oscillating between pleading for my forgiveness and insulting me harshly. At one point, she claimed that she was glad she hadn't remained faithful and admitted to engaging in affairs with other men whenever I was away for work. Subsequently, she retracted her statement, saying that she was lying to hurt me. Given the conflicting nature of her statements, I am left uncertain about the truth. Therefore, I have decided to assume the worst-case scenario. I am currently embracing the fresh start that this move provides and am grateful for the advice and support I have received. Am I the asshole for making my family cancel their vacation because I won't watch their dogs? I have been in a difficult situation involving my family, and I am seeking an external perspective on whether my actions were justified. Here's the background. My parents, who are in their early 80s and mid-70s, asked me to assist them in booking a much-needed vacation. They also requested that I help arrange a vacation for my brother, who is in his early 40s, and his wife, who is in her early 30s. Due to my current financial situation, specifically, the fact that I am unemployed and cannot afford to join them, my husband and I had to forego what would have been our first family vacation together. Although I was deeply saddened by this, I agreed to help with the arrangements. During our conversations, my mother mentioned that it would be beneficial for me to watch my brother's 2 pugs and my parents' chihuahua while they were away. The issue of watching the dogs is quite challenging. It involves round-the-clock care and requires me to stay at my brother's home. The dogs are lovely but require significant attention and maintenance. I have repeatedly suggested to my brother over the past 10 years that he should hire a professional dog sitter, as money is not an issue for him. In the past year alone, I have dog sat for them 3 times, with stays ranging from 1 to 5 nights. While I was compensated fairly, I find staying at their house and providing constant care to be exhausting. My husband and I have 5 cats, and while we consider our pets to be like family, we intentionally chose not to have dogs due to the additional demands they require. When it came time to discuss the arrangements, my brother had not even inquired about my availability to watch the dogs. At a family dinner on Sunday, where my sister-in-law was absent due to illness, I took the opportunity to express my feelings to my brother. I told him that although I love him and his pugs, I simply could not commit to caring for them while he and his wife were on vacation. I emphasized that being confined to their house for 7 nights was too much for me and reiterated that I had been urging him for nearly a decade to hire a dog sitter. I also offered to assist in finding someone suitable. My brother's initial reaction was defensive. He threatened that they would no longer care for my cats if I didn't agree to watch his dogs. I pointed out that, unlike his situation, I had asked for their help with my cats. He ultimately acknowledged that asking me to care for 5 dogs, 2 additional Italian greyhounds that his mother-in-law was bringing, was a considerable request. Despite my attempts to remain calm and assertive, the situation became tense. By the end of the dinner, we had exchanged hugs, and I believed we had reached an understanding. I was pleased with my ability to set boundaries, even though I knew my brother was upset. The next evening, I called my parents to discuss any updates. I learned that my brother had called them after the dinner, feeling blindsided by my decision. Both he and my sister-in-law were deeply upset, and they accused me of throwing a tantrum because I couldn't join the vacation. Although I admitted that missing out on the vacation was disappointing, I clarified that my primary concern was the unreasonable expectation of staying at their house for a week. Update: my brother later apologized, and we were having a productive and calm discussion. I was willing to consider a compromise because I finally felt understood. However, things took a turn for the worse when my sister-in-law, who had been consistently unpleasant throughout the ordeal, abruptly demanded to know how we could resolve the situation. I expressed my hurt feelings regarding my sister-in-law's past behavior. Specifically, I had learned that she complained about helping me clean my house before my wedding and had told my father about moldy dishes in the sink, which I found extremely humiliating. Her attitude and sarcastic remarks during our conversation only added to my pain. When I expressed that it hurt to be perceived as sabotaging their vacation out of jealousy, my sister-in-law responded with a dismissive tone, stating that she believed that's exactly what I was doing. Her response felt like a personal attack, and her lack of empathy left me feeling devastated. As a result, I stood up to leave and, despite the chaos, told everyone that if they chose to cancel their vacation due to my refusal to watch the dogs, that was their decision and not my responsibility. I then exited the house and waited in the car for my husband. My sister-in-law had been part of my wedding, and I had always been enthusiastic about having her as my sister-in-law. I am now deeply disheartened, as it seems she has no respect or genuine affection for me. This situation has made me question my relationship with my brother and has left me feeling that I have lost not just a potential sister but also the family dynamic I once cherished. Am I in the wrong for setting these boundaries and refusing to watch the dogs, even though it led to the cancellation of their vacation?